I'm Marshall, and I'm the old bloke in the shed. One of many, I would think. I've got a video coming up after this for you, and I hope you enjoy it. I am setting up here to make a follow rest for the Edgwick lathe. Maybe regular viewers remember we bored some holes in the apron a while back. Well, this is the bottom of it, but I need two 45-degree cuts for it to sit over the ways on the lathe, so that's what I'm doing here. I'm adjusting the Bridgeport to 45 degrees. And I'll come off that spindle. It's actually better if you keep one of the, well, this is an older machine of course, if you keep one of the bolts a wee bit tight, it stops it going for a wander. Just cleaning some stuff off the side square there. Yeah, I need to come back a little. And too far. That's a bit better. Right, I think we'll settle for that. It's only to run over the V grooves in the ways on the lathe, so it doesn't actually have to be extremely precise, but it's all good practice, I say. Right, I've got a 0 set in the DRO, so if we know the depth we go down and we move it exactly 9 1/4 inches, it should be in the right place. So, give it a try. 800 RPM. running around 900 RPM. That's 7 mil. I think we're going to need 10. That's 8 mil now. New problem. The V's deeper than this. 8.5. Probably do one more. Should get us there. Here to measure. Swing it. Nine, I think. One more cut and we'll should be good, I think. Reset our depth stop. We have our depth stop set here, so we can just go ahead with it. Right, here we go. One. I take the handle off to get it to come round. Just checking that we're still vertical. Now I put the head back. I think it was within 5/10 when I checked it a second ago. Yeah. I don't even think it's that. I used the 0 mark that's on the machine, and that's how accurate it is. We could try it this way just for fun. Okay, it's 5/10 on the dial. Went +1 and then it went, oh, it's going back to 5/10. Just a bit of dirt on the surface maybe. I think that's close enough for what I'm doing. Oh, it didn't like that much, did it? I made it like a transfer punch, screwed it into the hole in the lathe apron, and then I banged this against it to get my exact marks. So I've got 3 marks from the holes. Just got to get them to line up now. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. A bit of room to get 16mm drill in. It is moving. It's moving, but it's quite slow, so that'll be okay. That's it, using its own self-drill feature. There's 3 speeds, plus whatever speed the drill's going at. And it's thousandths per revolution. I don't know what they actually are. We just got it in a slow setting. That's about 500 RPM. No, don't like that bit. That's in hard. Amazing the amount of chips you get out of things. Or most people in the UK call them swarf, but because I watch Abram all the time, I adopted his Americanisms. Well, everything's in the right place. Fit. It doesn't. It doesn't. Open hang unusual. Right, I'll go and see if it fits and I'll bring you along once I've cried a bit when it doesn't. That's it, and the bolts are very close to the right place. I can get them in and they're a wee bit tight, but that's what I want. The middle bolt is sticking out, it's a longer bolt. So I'll put a long shaft in and then we'll work out where the other bit's going. Right, for you as you haven't quite figured out what the heck I'm doing. There's one I made earlier in good Blue Peter style. That's 25mm hard and I bent. Then I had a rest for about a week. So that will be my follow rest of some kind. So that's about too high. I'm not actually sure how that would weld to that. That being an old bit of material. Should be steel though, I think. Somewhere about there I should think. It's a bit tricky because you've got to allow for the cross line moving and the apron moving back and forth that way. That's why we cut out the V's and that. So what I'd like to do is maybe have a thread on there that went right down, but how are we going to do that then? Unless I bore a hole in the end of that and tap it and then match the hole in there and then weld it maybe as well. That was fun to bend. Well, I've been playing about trying to get this thing to sit so I could drill a hole in it, and eventually got it. I just run it up the side of the chuck back and front and got as near centre as I could. So that's bored 14mm down to about here, and that'll let me tap at M16. So we'll put an M16 hole, or a 16mm hole crossways on this. This is the bit that fits on the lathe. And that'll hold it in place temporarily till we work out all the positions for everything. I'll probably end up welding it, but I'll leave the M16 bolt in for more strength. It's to be cut down a wee bit. My voice might be funny. They've given me a new preventative inhaler, so the old one was going for my throat because I've been on it too long, I think. Anyway, so we need to tap that M16 now. I can either cut it and tap at M16, or I can tap at M16. Probably going to tap at M16 because everything's in the right place at the moment. That Bridgeport is at its full extent up that way and down that way. And the drill, I had to cut down the end of the drill to get it in, that 14mm drill, to get it in there because it would only go to there. Yeah, but there's still plenty of meat in it. It's pretty sharp. I'd drilled a 8.5 to start with for an M10, and I decided to go a bit beefier. I've threaded the question mark, so we can call it, I suppose, and we need to put a hole down through here for it. So I had the table right down, so I decided to use my quill extender to save shifting it basically. I've got it, might as well use it. So we need a hole here for 16mm to go through, so get it sent out. Great when everything gets magnetised, isn't it? Yeah, that's 14, that's 16, so 14 through first, I think it's sharper. Self-drilling again. Needs a bit of help. I do like this self-drilling feature on these Bridgeports, although it does need a bit of help now and again. Find my box of springs of just a sec till I see if I can find a spring. Find one long enough. This should work. Little trick to keep the pin out, stick a spring in it. It's self-drilling, I'm just putting some weight on it. Hear that click, that's when it stops self-drilling. I could make it drill faster, but it seems to be working okay. Now, bigger hole is required. I did think about threading it, but I thought, well, I'll just put a hole that we can put a bolt through and then put a nut in the bottom. Fit in there. I haven't seen anybody else with an extended quill attachment yet. Oh, there is some more. Didn't have too much trouble cutting through there. That's just coming through. That'll get screwed up into the end of our question mark, and then we've got a bolt underneath. That's that cut down, and it's got a bolt right through. What I'll do is I'll make an arm coming off it and then come down through somewhere Might even be with a bolt, threaded bolt, because you hit the ways of lathe. So I've got these that I used on the last thing I made. So I'm thinking I'll have one there and one there, and we'll make up a second bit so it can't flip. I'll bolt through it, and then a pin or something so it can't push it away, if you know what I mean. 2 points of contact. That one could probably go in the top. I'll just weld a pin on or something. I've got a long one and a short one, so put the long one in the back. And a way to drill a hole all the way through for a 10mm, probably thread it actually. Put a locking washer on it then. And then a pin, we could weld a pin on maybe, just so it doesn't move sideways. Then we'll put something on here as an outrigger so it won't twist. Quite like the idea in having it so we can unbolt it. We just have something on the flat there, coming along, and then a bolt down the way. It's always going to move a bit. But I found if you use the bearings, they just revolve, so it's a lot less stress on them than what there is. You know, normally they use bronze bush things, but there's a lot less stress on a bearing. Could even put it to the inside, I suppose. I actually prefer it to be here because then it's in line. It's more in line with the cutter. So we'll get a couple of drilled and tapped holes into that, and we'll get something to come this way. We'll drill and tap something down. Might put it at an angle just to give it a bit more support. Yeah, I'll weld something onto it. And that'll be more or less it. So I've made up this bit for here. So we're gonna. I drilled it on the angle and then I face milled that bit. Now I'm going to drill and tap it M12, I think. And then I'll weld that to that. So that is a 10.2mm drill. Goes in a little bit, I think. There seems to be a hard bit in the middle of this metal. There's a couple of holes to put in these as well. M10 will make them. I'm going to leave this bit in the lathe all the time and just undo that bolt and that bolt. So that's the plan anyway. That doesn't happen very often. Okay, that's us tapped M12. Get a bolt and see what happens. tight thread. The reason it's so tight there, that's an imperial bolt. Duh. That'll be 1/2 inch worth of one. See if I can find an M12. No M12s, we'll just go with this imperial. There's torque on there. Right, I'll get that welded together. I've drilled a hole for an M8 tap, so we're just going to wait a tap M8. I'll just start it with Bridgeport. New melody, aren't we? That doesn't happen very often. I think I said that last time. I've got I keep the dedicated drill for the M8 in. Just check it. This one. I thought about M10, but I'm just going to go M8, I think. With structural damage. Yep. Right, we'll need to bore a hole for the other one. Just centering it by eye. That's good. Just a pilot drill. It's about 5mm. Start a hole. Try not to drill holes in the ways. Advice. Right. tapping size. Just got the corner of the way, but not too bad. Tap that again. And that's that done. Okay, next job, we'll put it back in the lathe and work out where the pins are going to go.